Today we'll study Shihonage, or the four directions throw. The word Shiho literally means four directions, but more generally it means all directions or all around. My own understanding of Shihonage isn't just a throw that finishes in any direction, but rather a technique that expands our awareness to all sides of us. The photo here is of the founder, Morihei Ueshiba. He's performing Shihonage, and it shows his enormous unification of power and focus while remaining entirely balanced. Students who come to Aikido with previous sport martial art training are accustomed to facing a single opponent. But Aikido's deeper history is from the battlefield of the samurai, where opponents can appear from any side. Shihonage involves a complete 360-degree awareness. The way we move in Shihonage allows us to escape any attack coming from any direction. So regardless of the technique, in Aikido your energy and awareness should continually be in all directions, not just to your front. And that energy and awareness must reside and emanate entirely from your own center. There's also a deeper philosophical meaning to Shihonage, which is beautifully expressed by the late Shirata Sensei, one of O Sensei's top students since the 1930s. Here's the introduction to Shihonage in the book Aikido, The Way of Harmony. Although Shihonage is customarily the first throw to be taught to beginners, it is one technique that all practitioners must continually study and refine. Much more than a device to knock down an opponent, Shihonage contains profound philosophical implications that reveal the heart of Aikido. The founder explains Shihonage in terms of Shihogiri, swinging the sword in the four directions. In Aikido, a sword is not for cutting or killing, it is for manifesting the sacredness of life. Shihogiri expresses these principles: gratitude, purification, and realization. Shihogiri is synonymous with Shihohai, four-direction respect. All of our activities in and out of the training hall should begin and end with rei, respect. Respect originates with gratitude for all the things responsible for our existence. Four symbolizes the four gratitudes: gratitude toward the universal, from which we receive our animating spirit; gratitude toward our parents, from whom we received our body; gratitude toward nature, from which we receive our sustenance; and gratitude toward our fellow beings, from whom we receive life's daily necessities. We cannot survive without the assistance of others, and we must never cease to be grateful in all directions. Shihogiri is misogi, the cutting off of the evil that surrounds us and of our own imperfections. The sword purifies us of attachments and defilements, making the heart clear and bright. Shihogiri also slashes through all the obstacles that hinder self-realization, thus clearing the path leading to perfection. Never forget these three principles when performing Shihonage. Before I go into our practice today, let's look at Nishio Sensei's instruction on Aihanmi Shihonage. The first thing we'll notice from Nishio Sensei is how to properly extend our hand and also move our foot to the side at the same time in the what we call irimi movement. In general, when we present our hand for an Aihanmi technique, we present our hand with the palm up, whereas in Gyakuhanmi, you generally present with the hand palm down. So here you see him presenting his palm up. We also present our hand toward the opponent's center in a way to control the spacing between us. That hand position represents the same kind of position that you would execute a strike or a temi from. So when you present your hands this way, you're inviting the opponent, you're welcoming the opponent's attack forward, but you're also taking a position in which you're protected. You can see from this position that Nishio Sensei can strike his opponent without the opponent being able to strike him. You'll also see that Nishio Sensei's footwork is following the basic four-step pattern that we actually studied in our last video as well. So you present your hand palm up along with stepping to the side with your right foot. Then you turn, step to the side, and step forward and pivot. So you step to the side, presenting your hand. Bring your feet together and turn. Bring your feet together, step to the side. Bring your feet together, step forward, pivot, and cut. Once more, we step to the side as we present our hand. Bring your feet together and turn. Bring your feet together, step to the side. Bring your feet together, step, and pivot. Practice this movement on your own as many times as you need to until it becomes natural. Try to imagine your opponent grabbing your forearm and guiding them through the movement. Now we'll watch Nishio Sensei showing the Kentai-ken, or sword versus sword version of this technique. You can see his initial movement is to the side as he enters and controls the space between himself and the opponent. Then he turns and cuts. As you face your opponent, just stand with the sword naturally just to the front of you and keep the tip of the sword just in front of your right foot. We're going to circle the sword clockwise in the same way that we present our hand as we give our palm up. Step to the side. Bring your other foot behind, advance your right foot, then step across, pivot, and cut. Step to the side, circle the sword, bring your other foot together, advance, step across, pivot, and cut. Here's another version of this Kentai-ken where we move to the side and raise the sword and cut to the side, then advance to the side, step across, pivot, and cut. Step to the side as you raise the sword, bring your feet together, turn all the way around, step to the side, forward, turn, pivot, and cut. Now we'll watch Nishio Sensei show the Aihanmi Shihonage Omote AntiJo. You'll see he follows the same pattern of footwork and the same basic hand motions. When you're holding the jo, just hold the jo in your fingers. So when you're just holding the jo, relax your hand a little bit. Don't sink the jo all the way into your palm until you're ready to strike. And then as you stand, just hold the jo so that the alignment of the jo is toward the opponent's eyes. You present the jo by turning your hand just the same way that you did when you presented your hand for the grabbing technique. So we'll step to the side, turn the jo, Then bring our foot behind. Our left hand goes palm down, press through, turn, and strike to the rear. So again, we're going to turn the Jo clockwise as we step to the right. Pull your right hand back. Left hand comes forward with the fingers, step, and turn. You notice as you turn, you let go with your left hand and then pick it up on the other side. So you'll see right here as I step through, I'm pressing with my left hand, turn, and the Jo comes over my head as I take up the left hand on the other side. Step, turn the Jo, advance forward, press, and bring the left hand down to the end of the Jo. Here we are from another angle, so I'll turn the Jo clockwise, pull my foot behind, press the Jo through, and you'll notice that left hand lets go and then picks up on the other side. We'll do a couple more times. And one more time. Now we'll study the Aihanmi Shihonage Omote Aiki Toho Iai form, or iaido form. First we'll watch Nishio Sensei. He'll advance his left foot first, and then he'll step to the right, bring his feet together, step through, and turn. The first cut is a kiriage or rising cut going from the left up to the right, and then the second cut is a kesagiri going from right down to the left. When you're holding your sword, you hold it in your right hand like this, with the sageo or the cord of the sword wrapped up in your hand. So you take the sageo, you wrap it into the fingers of your right hand, and then you tuck the sword behind you on the right with the blade of the sword facing down and the ska or handle of the sword behind your arm. When you bow in, you take the sword edge up and place it right against your body with the right hand on top of the tsuba or the handguard. Then we bow to the shomen. From there we would bow to our partners or our instructor. And then you would do tore or bow to the sword. Hold the sword about eye level and keep the sword at eye level as you bow. So don't let the sword come down as you bow. Try to keep it in the same place. And then take the sageo, wrap it into your finger, and then you'll press the sword into your obi or your belt. And then here's how you tie the sageo. You take a loop of the sageo, press it up underneath one of the cords on your hakama or underneath your belt. Then take another loop and press it up inside of that loop. Pull the long side down and that tightens it. You can instantly release that now just by pulling the end. So once again, you make a loop, press it up inside the himo or the cord of your hakama, then take the other end, make another loop, press it inside that loop, give it a little tug, and that holds the sageo in place. When you hold your sword, just have it so that if you bend your arm, that your hand naturally goes to the sword. If it's too far forward or too far back, that's not a good position. So right where your arm is hanging and you bend your elbow, the thumb should naturally go right to the tsuba or the handguard with the thumb placed on the inner part of the handguard to be able to release and secure the sword into the saya. We'll start with a little exercise just to get the hang of drawing the sword and resheathing it. Because we carry the sword with the edge up, as you draw it, you're going to bring your right hand to the underside like this of the ska or the handle, and then draw straight up, step forward and cut, bring the sword to the side for the chiburi, and then resheath it. And we'll go into some detail on this in a moment. So here's the chiburi. In the resheathing, you turn the saya out, then draw the sword across that opening, and then slide it back. You turn the grip of your right hand out slightly, press the sword to the side, turn the saya out, then draw the back of the blade across your hand until you feel the tip of the sword reach the opening of the saya, and then you slide it back. Turn your right grip out a little, chiburi, turn the saya out, draw the back edge across until you feel the opening, and then slide the sword home. Turn your right grip out, chiburi, turn the saya out, but don't use your finger. That's actually a fault in iaido. You want to keep the hand closed around the koiguchi or around the opening of the saya. So don't use your finger to fish the sword back into the saya. You can see here a little closer. I'm keeping my hand closed and just in front of the opening of the saya. Then your thumb secures the tsuba back into the saya. So once again, shift your grip out a little, chiburi to the side, turn the saya out, but don't use your finger like that. Keep your hand closed. Notice the flesh of my hand is just in front of the opening of the saya. Pull the sword across until you feel the tip of the sword drop in, and then slide it back. So when you're first learning the sword, this is the way that you should practice your resheathing. As you get a little experience with that, then you can use this other method where you bring the sword back across your arm and then pull the sword forward until it drops into the saya. So here we are doing the Shihonage form. Note the opening cut is that rising cut, up diagonally from left to right, and the second cut is downward, diagonal from right to left. So kiriage, rising, and then keisagiri, the diagonal cut. Little step to the right, feet together, step through, and pivot. There's your final diagonal cut. Bring the sword back to the center, chiburi, left step, a little step to the right, feet are going to come together, draw and cut up, turn and cut down diagonally from right to left, back to Seigan, swords in the middle, Chiburi, and then return the sword. And just use that basic sword return that we practiced to start with if you're just getting started. So from this angle, I take a left step, little step to the right, foot comes behind, step across, rising cut, and then diagonal cut. Sword comes back to Seigan, Chiburi, Osame. Osame means finish. We'll look at this one more time. Step with your left foot, a little step to the right, together, step across, pivot, and cut. And there you have the Aihanmi Shihonage Omote Aiki Toho Iai. We'll finish with a little breathing and centering exercise. So each time you breathe in, just allow your arms to turn out. And as you exhale, let them relax and turn in. Inhale. Exhale. The arms naturally just turn out with each inhalation. And exhale. One more time. We'll sit Seiza and Makuso, or meditate or contemplate. Have your left hand on top of your right, thumbs touching lightly. Center yourself, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Shomen ni rei. Domo arigatou gozaimashita. Thanks very much for training today. We'll see you next time.